So here's a little demo of the engine, how it works. So first I've just got the engine idle sound, which is sort of inverted to the speed. So when you kick in, basically it'll be on, and then at sort of by 2000, the volume's fully turned off. So the engine, which is just that sort of drone, and there's also the FM synth engine drone as well, which is 2 copies, and they're slightly out of phase, so you get this kind of like kind of slight panning. So this is the engine rush sound, and basically it's 2 copies, one which is going straight there, and the other one which is being just slightly delayed, which is mapped to the speed. And so you get that engine, that kind of comb filtering sound. You get a sort of 2 things slightly out of phase, or like when engines, when like planes are flying over, it's a comb filter because it's bouncing off the floor. And so we've got some boost startup sounds. Then the actual FM, although that should be actually renamed to just engine on sound because the boost is going to be slightly different. So the FM is 2 copies. One of them is basically just an octave lower / then it has these multipliers to basically just add more variation. So they're kind of quite atonal to each other. It's an FM synth pretty much. Well, it is an FM synth with a bit of cutoff on the top because it gets a bit harsh. So if you don't know what FM synths are, basically it's a sine wave which is then modified by other sine waves. So this is the carrier, I think that's the name. And so the pitch, the speed of the engine affects the pitch, and then it affects the modulation pitch and the amount of modulation and all these different things in different amounts over different spaces of time to get sort of a constantly changing sound. And so we've got FM pitch, which just basically builds up over the whole time. And then the modulation amount of this sine wave, and then this one's called top speed, so this one only comes in right at the very top. And then right at the top, we have wave folding. So when you're in the very, very top, you just get this it kind of turns almost a bit white noisy. Also LFO frequency just sort of so it spins up, it gets to full speed quite quickly on that one. So as I say, there's 2 copies of that, and then I will just show you how that's working within the blueprint. So as I say, this is the first time I've ever used Unreal. I mostly work in linear media, and I'm just learning this kind of thing. So I'm sure someone who knows what they're doing probably look at this and be like, "This is unnecessary." Maybe, I'm not sure, but so basically, each of these is being affected by is affecting it. So the speed. So for instance, this one just goes from 0 to 25,000, and it's being clamped, and that's the delay time. So again, that's just creating that kind of that comb filtering kind of tone. And then engine revs, again, this is the actual like that rushing sound, which kind of kicks in full pelt by 1,000. That's just the gain. Then we've got engine idle, which is invert, so from 2,000 it's at 0, and at 1 it's at full gain. At 0 it's at full gain. FM pitch, again, this one is just full spectrum. We've got from 50 hertz to 400 hertz, and that's from 0 to 25,000. Mod mount is basically the next FM synth. The next sine wave, which is the amount of it, and again that doesn't kick in straight away. It sort of has a bit of a build, and then that again has different amounts. Likewise, the mod pitch only comes in a little bit later. So each time it it kind of staggers and develops over time, rather than just sort of being it's not every single dial just being all turned at exactly the same time. It kind of has this staggered effect. LFO frequency, yeah, that's literally just so it goes. It's that kind of spin up tone. And again, yeah, and then the volume is just because because it's getting higher, it kind of, you need that kind of attenuate just a little bit to keep it feeling the same speed, the same kind of tone. Top speed is, yeah, so just within 20 to 25,000, this extra modulator comes in, and then between in the boost speed, the wave folder kicks in. So it's only, if you're going at full speed just with this, with spacebar, this won't have any effect, and then you kind of actually start pushing it and it comes into play. Deep engine is just a deep engine tone that I put in, which is similar to the engine rushing, but it's just to kind of add a bit of grit, a bit of bass, and then engine revs, which I can't remember what that's doing. That looks like it's it's the engine, the deep engine, it's the pitch of it, so it kind of has this kind of tone basically. But yes, and yeah, so it just means that I suppose I'm just trying to create a kind of fairly lively engine with a synth by creating all these different variations and like small differences between different sections and so on. Anyway, I hope that was helpful, but happy to answer any questions.